glad with the new policy that came out from Roger Goodell and his cronies, because it seems like every time the topic goes away, the NFL, not the players, coaches, not advertisers, the NFL or the president say something dumb, and the topic starts again. So that's why this came up. The NFL put in a policy in the off season about not kneeling, and if you kneel, there's going to be a fine, or maybe suspension. So Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, came out saying our guys aren't going to kneel. And even though he's on the Jackie Robinson board, so he's Mr. Equal Rights, and he can say, and he was all about it last year, he's done a 180. Jerry Jones has been consistent and against the protest. Well, your Giants owner, William Mara, has come out with John Mara has come out and said, Jerry Jones, shut up. My players are allowed to do what they want. I'm not going to get in their way. And good for him. So I want to touch based on that. I want to talk about a little bit about Demi Lovato. Yes, Demi Lovato. We talked about that here too. We talk about everything here on the Let's Get Real podcast. She was recently checking the rehab after overdosing, and it was on heroin. We still really don't know what she overdosed on. We watched her autobiography film. She's had long bouts of drug issues, and she's been sober for the last 6 years. But drug issues, and it's something we're going to talk about a lot tonight, is not an issue, it's a disease. Just like alcoholism, just like heart disease, just like diabetes, drug issues are a disease. And it's something, like we talked about on this show, mental health, America does not, we just don't handle properly. We don't handle drug abuse properly as well. So I want to talk about that. And the lovely Shirley's out here, @_Shirley. She doesn't need me. She has 25,000 million followers. Nice. We'll still shout her out. Is out here helping out tonight at FAU Stadium guy show, but we don't want to. We want to have, at least that was my perspective behind the Let's Get Real podcast, was getting other angles. I've shown you before. She's a fan, but she also is a woman. And I'd like to see her perspective on drug abuse, because I feel like guys don't really get it. Like, we're in sports. Oh, come on, just throw the beer out and go play the game. Women, I feel like are sensitive. I'd love to get her on to talk about that. So we'll talk about what's going on with Demi Lovato. And then we'll get to some sports. We love our sports. Of course. Kevin Durant and CJ McCollum had an interesting week back and forth. We don't know what you guys on the podcast. Like after this podcast, I'm hoping you guys aren't going to come out.
I'm going to tweet on you.
Twitter beat. You may, but I'm hoping you don't. They did. We'll touch on that. And there's some other things going on. The In My Feelings thing, I don't get it.
Challenge.
What the hell is it? Like I don't know where it started. I don't know what it is. And I had no idea. People getting out in traffic. I had no idea that was people getting out in traffic and starting to sing and do the dance. I had no idea. So we'll touch on that, and we'll get to maybe some other things here on the Let's Get Real podcast, as we are each and every week on MikeLubitz.com. And now we are released. Thank you to Cadet Digital and Comrade Cadet on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. Just search Mike Lubitz. And tonight we are here at FAU Stadium, live. We're live at FAU Stadium. You are here. To the last home game of the season. Major League Lacrosse. I will be openly honest. Didn't know they're going to exist.
I never knew they had a league.
No, neither did I. No, you know what it is? I heard of the other league, but they do it indoors. It's a National Lacrosse League, I think it's called.
Yes, I heard that is crazy. Okay. But I also heard this is on another level. And hopefully we'll be here next year for their home games. It's something that's funny because we all grew up big football fans. You guys are parents. I'm hoping to be a parent someday sooner than later. I know I'm not breaking any news. I'm just saying I'm not breaking news. I'm just anyways, but no, and I'm the side where I probably wouldn't let my kids play football. And now I know lacrosse is violent, but I've also heard it's not football. And youth participation is way up in lacrosse. And look, when there's no football, people still want the violence without a lot of the repercussions. So lacrosse is a place where a lot of people, especially down here in South Florida, a lot of parents go play their kids in lacrosse. So we will talk about that as the show goes on. But I do want to get to a week that was in the world of sports and outside of it. We've been talking about the kneeling dilemma.
Here we go again.
And I don't want to talk about that. I do want to talk about how the owners have handled it. It's really funny. Stephen Ross is one of the most. Last year, Stephen Ross was also the player. Now all of a sudden, it came out, it leaked out what the Dolphins were going to do for penalties, and they may suspend players. A lot of people come out, the Giants are going to say that is ridiculous. We're not going to do it. I've been pretty consistent on this. I think in America we like to protest. Even when the crazy people protested the KKK, I didn't care they were protesting. I didn't like that they were inciting violence and they were bearing arms and pretty much threatening people. Especially after the president called football players individuals and kneeling. So I thought, if you're going to protest, let people protest. Don't make them choose. So who am I to make them choose? However, people haven't been that way. You guys have been pretty consistent, or you as well. What do you think about the Giants owner, John Mara, coming out and standing up for his players? Because a lot of time in our business lives, in our workplace, it's very rare your boss stands up for you. It's usually your boss is giving you shit, giving you a hard time.
I say good for him all day. It's about time one of the owners actually staying up for the players for once, not just the commissioner. I know the commissioner is trying to do what they do, but to actually find an owner that's doing bullshit. You know what I'm saying? This is a good step. It's a good step for that.
Right. I like what the Giants doing. Looking out for his players. I would want to make you want to go to work more when you're working for an employer that actually has your back on certain things that are affecting you in your community. So I have a good feeling about that. And plus, I just feel like the president has other more important things to do, like Russia business, like all that stuff that's going on with Russia. Should be worrying about that instead of what the NFL players are doing, instead of like dodging around the issues that the players are actually trying to get across.
Well, something I talk about with Shirley a lot, who is a boss and is in management, and she's younger, she's female, so a lot of the time she gets crap being in management, but her management style is what I try to do with people. I'm not really your boss, but with the people I work with. As a manager, you should be a part of the team, not away from the team. And I feel like too much times in life, especially sports, coach is the coach, coordinator is the coach, and then the assistants are under them. There's such a chain of command that it almost hurts the organization as much as it helps the organization. And it's very new and it's techy and it's millennial, but a lot of businesses are going to a way where it's linear, where it's not building up. I don't know. I'm going with linear and chill. Yeah. What is it going on? Tell me.
Flat.
Okay, same. Anyway, straight line. Okay. Flat, linear. Where you're on the same. You know what the boss is, but they don't hold it over. And in sports, it's such an old school mentality. It's like armed forces, military, army, rah, rah, rah. And the players are making 10 times. How can the hell can the coach a lot of times tell the players? So if you're on the same team, to me, owner, player, management, it makes more sense, especially if you're on the team with the player. LeBron runs the league. Kevin Durant runs the league. Not Dan Gilbert and not Nick Harrison. So if that's the case, why not in our daily lives? And it makes me give a lot of credit to the player because I wish my bosses, I hope I understood more what I was doing and tried to back me, and you never see that.
Right, you never see that. So I feel really good about the Giants this year. Hopefully that they back up what they say. Hopefully they don't let the NFL commissioner or the president jump in and try to stop them from punishing the players. I feel like that these issues need to be addressed, and until they're addressed, the players are going to still kneel. They're still going to do whatever they need to do to get their message proven and their point across.
I don't think it's going to be rebellious this season as opposed to last season. Because quite frankly, I don't know about you guys, but I ain't trying to sit here and have another season of hearing Trump, hearing this national anthem, kneeling and protesting.
And we're here at the Florida Launch game because we want the action. And I'd like for us to get back to just talking about the action. And I appreciate Mara. Look, Mara wasn't like he was trying to be this social changer. What he was trying to do was say, look, let's focus on the action. Either way, let's focus on the action. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think you got to be consistent. People don't want to focus on the action when they hear something.
This is my thing. Like, when it comes to NFL, you have 6 months to get away from other people, get away from the politics, get away from the bullshit, and have a good 3 to 6 hours of football once a week. That's what we do. That's what we do as Americans. And the last thing is the president, let alone anybody in the office, come through and start dictating what needs to be done in the sporting world. I don't need to hear it for a second. I really don't.
No, I'm really over the controversy. Like it's been long with LeBron. It's been going on for the last 2-3 seasons. Instead of move on, why don't we just acknowledge what the issues are, what he's playing?
Because they're not going to acknowledge the issue. They're always going to blindside you with bullshit.
I don't like how the NFL is so different from, like, say, the NBA. Because with the NBA, the players have a voice, they can protest,
they can't be a voice
for certain issues that are going on. With the NFL, like, you got to walk around with your tail behind you, between your legs.
That's why it's called no fun league.
You can't even do anything. You can't defend yourself. Your people.
And this is, by the way, the Let's Go podcast. We are coming to you from Florida. Stadium, but we joining me, also iTunes, SoundCloud, search Mike Lubitz. The recording is now for the launch when Brad Johnson's on.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me back on to Mike's show. I gotta say, Lubie, you know, I don't know if you guys know our history. I'm just meeting you gentlemen for the first time, so I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to be on this show. But about 4 or 5 years ago, I got a call from a super producer down in Miami asking me to come and talk about murder, drugs, sex, and a little bit of hip hop.
Yes.
And I said, what? I like all of those things. I want to come talk on your show. Hell, I have to do a radio show, you know, 5 days a week for 3 hours a day. I want to talk about those things. So, and I'm talking about, of course, and what started down here in the state of Florida, the Aaron Hernandez case. And I was with the Boston Herald at the time and ESPN New Hampshire, and I had the opportunity to go on their show at the time about once a week because it was such a hot story. If you don't remember, but here's one of the funny things. About a year and a half ago, I got a call from Lubie who said, "Hey, do you think you could come on the show and talk about this?" And I said, "Hey, Lubie, I'll do you one better. I'll meet you at the studio." And he goes, "What are you talking about? Shut the hell up. What are you talking about? You'll meet me at the studio." Well, surprise, shock. My wife and I ended up moving down to South Florida, where we live in Deerfield Beach, and she's at Fox Sports Florida, and I'm here. I work with Fox Sports Florida as well. And one of the funny things is Lubie and I then started doing a little bit more radio together with SB Nation Radio out of Miami. And it's come full circle. Now look, I'm asking you to come and do stuff for my team and on my show, and I can't thank you guys enough. My other two brothers, don't be mad at me. I promise you guys the suite upstairs. We're gonna get there. If y'all can wrap it up by 7, they close it like 7. They go through the first half, the 30 minutes after face-off. If we can wrap it up, we can go upstairs and get food and drinks. That's on y'all though. I jumped on. I jumped on. I didn't know what we were talking about, so I don't know how deep.
But honestly, no. It's funny because you said I remember laughing at it. Look, I know you may have a jet, Mr. Boston. It's not that serious. It was good enough. I'm down here. And you're with SB Nation then, Fox Sports Florida then, and still with them now.
Yeah.
What got you with Florida launch, man? Because I see lacrosse everywhere. Look, I was honest with you, you never know anything about lacrosse. And you're like, good. That's who we're going after. Because Florida's a hub.
It's a hub. As you guys can look around the stadium right now and see all the kids that are here. You've got kids who are dressed up in all of their gear because they're doing games that are on the field. It's a good opportunity. Here's the thing. What we have when we're doing youth sports, it's not, you guys remember soccer 30 years ago? This is the new soccer. This is the new soccer. This is not rugby, this is the new soccer. And what we're going to do through many times with youth sports is we try and find a sport that kids can play and have a good time. And just like soccer, this is it. With basketball, you're going to have that 1 or 2 players who could dominate the team and make the sport more fun. We know that. I know you guys are in the back. We're doing the anthem, so we're going to keep it on a little bit quiet.
Say
first, let me say that's John Levere, the conservatory and choir director for American Heritage High School. So I do a lot of things, like I got our national anthem singer. So, but I got with the launch simply because of ESPN New Hampshire. So in Boston, Robert Kraft owns the MLS team. He also owns the lacrosse team, and they played at Gillette Stadium. So our coverage was with the Boston Cannons, which is part of the MLL. And so I did a lacrosse show up there. And so I'd been working with MLL for a while, but I got down here to Florida, and I was working, of course, with Jim Rodriguez for SB Nation. And then after that fizzled, my wife got me work with Fox Sports Florida, but it's freelance stuff. It wasn't every day. And so she said, hey, did you know there was an MLL team here? I was like, yeah, I kind of knew that. But she's like, you should call them. Sure enough, I called them. They knew who I was, and they said, you want to come work here? And I was like, all right, it's 5-10 minutes from the house. Where's it at? FAU? Okay, we can do that. So I do a little bit of everything for the launch. You know, you mentioned account executive, but I do so much more for them. I go out to high schools and I speak to kids about outreach, and we give the opportunity to spread the brand, as we call it. We want to raise awareness. I specifically will go a lot of times to inner cities because, look, I want black kids to know about this sport.
That's what I was gonna say.
And a lot of people don't.
And I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
And we are here, the Let's Get Real podcast live. We're live. You'll be hearing this on my podcast. You can check it out. Also, all the video, the lovely Shirley kicking ass doing the Facebook Live.
Thank you.
Lubie Lubitz or at Lubie WINZ, LUBIEWINZ. You can check out all the video, and I'll definitely look at all of the video on the video show as well. But we were talking about when we started the show how football and the violence of football has really scared a lot of parents from youth football.
Yes.
And you're not going to just, they play enough video games. You need to find another outlet.
Right.
Well, a lot of parents, I know, their parents, I've seen in the comments, are taking their kids and saying, look, you get a little bit of the violence in lacrosse, but it's not the same thing.
Right.
Let's go play some youth lacrosse. And it's broken out everyone's up here.
It really has. And that's the great thing about the youth sport and about lacrosse. Look, it's safer. It's a little bit more quicker than you're going to have in football because you have the pads, you have the helmets, but you don't have the restrictions that you're going to have with the football pads that a lot of times you do. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about let's get real. It's expensive to play this sport, and so Florida.
Baseball's one thing.
Yeah, lacrosse is an expensive sport to play. So the Florida launch and the South Florida Youth Lacrosse Association, headed by the team president Brian Clinton, they give so much money back to schools. They started the school at Pompano High. The Puerto Rican national team is actually here. They flew them in, and there's about 35 of the Puerto Rican national lacrosse team members here because they want to spread the brand. Look, in order for these kids to play, give you guys some numbers. Travel team, it's about $2,000 a month. Yeah, about $2,000.
I had a buddy and his kid played. They had a pretty high level of kids.
Right.
They went up to a tournament in Massachusetts this weekend, and he said for my whole family to go there and back, you got to pay for hotels, you got to pay for food, and to get in the tournament in the league, it's going to be like $2,000. Yeah,
I'm really mad at that tournament. That's the Warrior tournament going on right now. It took about 50 of my junior high kids away from the stands, but there is a tournament going on in Mass this weekend, the Warrior tournament. It's for the junior high kids, but the boys. But it is an expensive sport to play, but it's great for the city of Boca, self-explanatory, because Boca, Parkland, Deerfield, it's Jupiter. The area here is prime for this type of sport and this type of recreation, so it works well for it. But, as we move along.
Because that's the thing is, we joke, you tend to only see one type of person playing lacrosse,
right?
Which isn't always true. Jim Brown is maybe the best lacrosse player ever. He's not only a black guy; he is a civil rights originator in America. So it's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily the case. However, yes, it is expensive. So when you go into the more urban areas, whatever the color,
it's hard.
It's hard to get into it. However, I've heard there's a lot of different movements to get money into different areas. Like, look, golf was seen as that long time ago. Tiger Woods started playing golf. And
breaking down that role.
Hispanics, you saw Asians, you saw African Americans.
I only saw Michelle Wee. Let's keep it real. All right? Are we keeping it real in this podcast? I didn't see anybody else with Michelle Wee. And I may see Tiger's niece too, because Sydney, she's pretty off the chain too.
Anyway,
okay, are we going back? Sorry.
Anyways.
Yeah, okay.
Is
my wife here at this game?
Exactly.
Okay, she's not.
Ethnicities, playing golf, and I feel like you're seeing that on the youth movement of lacrosse. What are some of the things you guys are trying to do? Because you talked about the
Right.
What are you trying to do to get the youth involved in lacrosse?
So we do a couple of things. I go to different high schools and I give speeches, and I bring up Jim Brown a lot because a lot of the black students that I speak with, they're in the football teams, they're in the basketball teams. I'm like, you guys realize that Jim Brown's scholarship to Syracuse was not in football? It was in lacrosse. So, and here's the thing: you may have a guy on the football team who's a linebacker. He may be second string linebacker. Put him on the lacrosse field, he's the best player on the field.
Brandon Flowers was an All-American
Yep.
from this area.
Yep.
Lacrosse is where his heart was. They had to talk him into playing football.
And it's true. And so that's one of the things that we tell the kids. And then another way that we do is we set up camps. So we'll go and we'll put on a youth camp somewhere. Or, we'll have them come in and some of the players will fly down. A lot of the players in Major League Lacrosse don't live in the towns where they play. Most of the players live up north on the East Coast. So we'll have a lot of the players who will fly down and be a part of this. But one of the great things about the youth is you put in professional players, and they're going to come out. You know, they're going to come out. They hear pro players. They're going to want to be a part of it, and that's one of the things that we try and do with our community outreach as well as equipment. Southwest Youth Florida Lacrosse Association by Brian Clinton, who started it. He probably spent $20,000 a month just on equipment alone. I drove over $15,000 in equipment just to the Peter Blum YMCA 3 weeks ago. Just because they called me and said, hey, our sticks are a little janky. He's like, oh, what do they need? Here's a check. Go. Take it. Because they want the sport to be expanded. They want the brand to be expanded. We want people to know, look, guys, we're in FAU Stadium. We can't see the stands from where we're sitting, but that whole area is full down below. There's a great crowd here, and it rains. So we've had about 4 rain games. The biggest crowd that we've had here is about 12,000. So, and that's on a good day, guys. We're in Florida. It's hot. You know.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys are being your parents. Stadium Florida launch, Atlanta Blaze. As you can hear, the action has already gotten started. This is where the home games are, and hopefully we'll be back here next year for the home games. I want to ask you guys, because a lot of, when we talk about youth, well, the youth play the sports because of their parents.
Yes.
A lot of parents have taken their kids out of football and look for other things. Where do you guys stand with that? Because I know you played football. You played on the college level.
Yep.
You played high school. We played football our whole life. I'd love to get all your opinions on what is your mindset. I know we talk about that in a while. We may talk about that for next time. Kevin Durant, I feel like this is more relevant and more important. As parents, where are you with that? Because every woman I talk to, we don't have kids yet. I'm sure they already, look at Jesse's face. Conrad's like the mother of his child, has already said Jordan's not playing. Jordan was 3 at the time. He's not playing.
Yeah.
I don't have kids. They're not playing. You have a son. You have a son now, a daughter. You have a son. Where are you guys with that? Seymour will go with you with Conrad. Want Brad's opinion. You played it, you love the sport. Where are you with your kid playing football? And if not football, where would you send them to?
You know what? This is just out of experience being a parent. I'd say go with what the kid heart desires. If he really wants to have the desire to play football, warn him of the risk that's being involved. You know, educate him like, look, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, that could happen. As with any sport's going to have a risk of injury. You know what I'm saying? But if he's still willing to do that sport, support him 1,000%.
I love you. And Cynthia says?
Cynthia hasn't gone up to it yet. So she wants basketball more than anything.
His wife talks here.
Yeah, but
Cynthia says, I feel like I want him to play football. I'm sure he laughed at me.
But you know what, with lacrosse though, from what I've been looking at, yeah, you still get the contact, not as much as football, but you get a lot of cardio in there as well, from what I'm noticing. So I think it'll be a good look for the kids, not just Florida, but the rest of the nation, because I've noticed, I've done a little research on ML. You guys had a few teams in there, and then they disbanded. But I wanted to ask you a question: is that the same goal for the rest of the nation to kind of expand and promote teams like that?
So, that's a good question. And here's the thing about the same professional lacrosse. There's a couple different things. There's outside professional lacrosse,
Lacrosse, and then there's NLL, which is National League Lacrosse, which is box. Which
That
is
hurt.
indoor.
Okay, now that looks insane.
I heard that too.
Now,
That looks like people going all
and so it's the equivalent of, guys, you play football. It's arena and football. That's what it is.
Yeah, you watch it.
That's what it is. It's arena and it's football. So when you have a game like arena, it's what type of fan are you? You know, I played arena football after I got out of UTEP. There's different type of fans who will go to an arena game that will go to an FAU football game. Those are the type of people who like to break. They like to see big hits. Those are the type of people who played NFL Blitz as kids. I'm serious. Yeah, those are the type of people who played those type of games, because when you have arena in football, just like you have boxing, it's fast. There's action. It's hardcore. Here, MLL is more of the purity of the game. You have the nuances, you see the skills, it's more traditional. So to answer your question, that will be expanded depending on what market it works best in. And you're not going to see a lot of box stuff down here in Florida just yet because the game is evolving. But like in Boston, there is a rivalry. Oh, you're a Cannons fan, but you're not a Whaler fan? How is that possible? You know, you have that rivalry. And on the Northeast, you're going to have that opportunity to get games. Been there for so long. It's huge up north. Down here, we're just getting started, so let's get the basics first, and then we can move on to that before it expands. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. Jerry Jones just purchased his first MLL team, and they play at the Dallas Star. In fact, we play them next week. They're called the Dallas Rattlers. They were a team in Rochester, and they moved down to Dallas, and they put about 14,000 people in those stands.
Wow.
Here's why. It's MLL, but it's the box. Because they're playing indoors. They're playing at the Star. And if you guys haven't seen what Jerry Jones' new stadium looks like, take a look. It's gorgeous. Yeah, so it's not the AT&T Stadium. It's the Star. It's the smaller venue that he built for high schools to play games, concerts, high school graduations. It's like a 15,000, 20,000 seat indoor football stadium. It's called the Star. And so that's where they play. And so that's where the Star is. That's where the Rattlers are playing, and they're averaging 10 to 13,000 people.
That's great.
And they're number one in the league. We're hoping to knock them off next week. But that's the great opportunity again about this game. People are starting to notice it. You get people like Robert Kraft, you get people like Jerry Jones who are behind it. They're the ones who are going to make this game watch. Well, he's a part of it, but the founder is actually Jake Steinfeld. That's what the trophy's named after, the Steinfeld trophy. Now, does everyone know what Jake Steinfeld is known for?
It sounds really familiar.
Body by Jake.
Oh no, Body by Jake.
Body by Jake. That's it. So if you remember the infomercials from the 90s, Body by Jake, he is the one who started Major League Lacrosse. It is his league.
That's classic.
And hence the championship trophy is the Steinfeld trophy. So that's why we have it here.
All right, so we are here at we've been talking about FAU Stadium. We're here across. Probably wrapping up shortly, but I did want to finish the thought about youth sports because it's funny, and I do want to talk about the things a lot of people.
Yes.
And that had a stigma to me. We also see a stigma with drug abuse.
Yes.
And I hate the term drug abuse because if you're thinking about it, if we're trying to make it a disease, then the term drug abuse is again putting it on the person and not about the DNA or not about what's behind it.
Yeah.
I'm curious about where you guys are with that because again, we're all pretty old school dudes. You're from Texas, Houston, Texas.
Yeah. H-Town, stay down.
You're from hardcore New York, New Jersey, New York at heart. And I'm from South Florida, but my whole world's been New York. So we're very old school guys. What I know of you and myself, we've modernized. We're strong women in our lives, so it's hard to not be modern.
No choice about that.
And to me, I always thought about it as abuse. Come on, get rid of that. Get rid of it. You can just put the weed down. You got money on the line. Or, well, bipolar, please. You know, it's just a game. Get over it. Go out there. Put the pads on.
Right.
What we're seeing is that's not the case.
It's not.
It is a disease. Demi Lovato's shown that. Look, she's in the middle of her tour. This album came out and it's been record-setting.
Right.
If it was just that easy, she wouldn't be going to rehab.
Right. For the who knows what number.
No, we don't know what it is. Well, she had a movie come out and it was about her life, and it's a disease, and we're learning it is just like mental illness.
Yeah.
we've seen football take a turn to try to understand basketball. I'm curious, you guys think also lacrosse. How are you guys? I don't know if it's with you guys yet, but how do you guys handle when it comes to season of that element?
Well, you know, I've been doing youth coaching for probably the past 12 years, and as far as youth coaching goes, up north it's a big, big epidemic. The heroin, the opiates, in Boston especially. You know, I had coaches, I know, not to get too morbid on your show, Mike, but I had a guy who was in charge of our Pop Warner League in the grounds division. So basically, it's Pop Warner, but it's his job to keep it's his job to keep it nice, keep it cut. He found him dead in his truck.
What?
This guy's like 47 years old. His kid, I coached his kid. His kid was on my team. He was 12. He left a 12-year-old and left a 16-year-old. Never told him anything. Never told him. And here's the thing. And here's what I think about Brunson. Youth need to be caught early before they figure out how to do it. Because the problem with drugs that I see is that too many people figure out how to function and manage it, and they continue to do it. That's why you have to catch it so young. Look, I have a 4-year-old. If I catch my kid with a blunt, I'm not gonna lose my mind. If I catch my kid with pills or something like that, I'm losing my mind because that means he's been experimenting for I don't know how much now. The fact that he's comfortable enough to get caught. That you got to be comfortable enough to leave stuff like that around.
So my thing is this, I understand losing it, and I get it, but after that, I feel like something we don't do, and I wonder what you guys do, your kids are doing too, but it's about, and people turn to the drugs because they don't know where else to go, and I feel like a lot of it is having a conversation. There's a conversation, having a conversation, and the understanding, when you guys hear disease, and I feel like back in the day, we would have laughed, but you didn't laugh this time, so I'll give you guys a lot of credit. When you hear drug use, disease, mental illness, disease, what do you think?
I just feel like it's not funny anymore. Like, I just feel like we definitely need to do something about that issue because, as you can see, it doesn't discriminate. You can be a multi-million-dollar superstar who's touring all over the world, and you still have demons that you got to deal with. So I just feel like
Well, how do you handle that as parents?
I don't know.
How do you handle that as a parent?
As far as a parent, you just have to be on top of your kid. You know, find out who they're hanging out with, find out what they're doing, they're like what kind of what they're playing, who they're hanging out with, and you just have to be involved. You have to like put your hand in the middle and see what they're doing and what you can do to try to like make sure that they stay out of the wrong crowd. And it just comes down to being just a better parent, just being involved and being hands-on with your kids. So
I couldn't agree with you more. I agree with what you just said earlier, but it all stems from the parents. It's about how often you can get the parents involved with the child's life. If you're not going to be involved with the child's life, he's going to look around. He or she is going to look around at other avenues to try to satisfy that crave, that need. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's what happens.
attention or whatever.
If they're not comfortable, then they turn to other things. And that's what I was trying to get at. We are here at FAU Stadium. We're going to be wrapping up here. Before we go, this is the last home game.
It is the last home game. Trying to get to the playoffs. We win tonight. We win.
Okay, so what does the rest of the season look like, and what is next season?
So our season usually comes out right around Thanksgiving. Right now, we are looking at a record of 5-7. We win tonight. We win next Saturday. We are headed to the playoffs for the second year in a row, which we are very excited about. And we have to win against the number one team. We got to go to Jerrysville to pick up that win. And pretend like it's the Packers going into Jerrysville to get that NFC first, because that's exactly what's happening on August 4th. So make sure you tune in to LSN and ESPN Plus, because that game will be on next Saturday, August 4th.
Okay, this is the Let's Get Real podcast. And before we get out of here, first, how can people, if they want to buy tickets, because I was supposed to be made fun of it, but I was posting it because I want people to come out and check out the action. People want to buy tickets. They want to get involved. They want to see what you guys are doing. How can they find the Florida Launch, Instagram, Twitter, all of it?
FloridaLaunchLacrosse.com is what our website is. If you go to the Instagram or IG, we're the Florida Launch. Twitter at Florida_launch. Again, that's at Florida_launch, or else you're going to get a bunch of nasty stuff.
All right, you personally, Brad, you got a lot going on.
At Brad J Media, you can find me there. I do so many things. I still have a couple podcasts that I do through WBLZ Sports. I'm also freelancing with Fox Sports Florida. If you guys check out any of the pre and post on Marlin's show, that's me behind the camera.
Seymour Brown, people want to get in touch with you, get at you. How can they do that?
You can look at my music page, showcaseyourmusic.com/JerseyMan99, New York Nightman. And you also got my Twitter, _Nightman.
Conrad Cadet, you would not exist without Conrad Cadet. You don't go to Cadet Digital. If you have any digital needs, first of all, everyone has digital needs. Who doesn't? You have a website, it's not performing at a high level. Cadet Digital will take you to that next level. And honestly, if you don't have one, what are you doing with your life? Cadet Digital will get you a website, reputation management. If people aren't finding you, might have messed up years ago, you need your reputation fixed. Conrad Cadet and Cadet Digital will do that. Also social media as well, SEO, all of it. Forays is great. But if you can't go with Forays, Cadet Digital is where you go. Conrad Cadet, Cadet Digital. Before you personally, how can they enlist the services of your
Yeah, if you want to check out some of my services, such as web design, SEO, or the social media management, you can contact me at conrad@cadetdigital.com, or you can check out some of my work and what Cadet Digital is all about at cadetdigital.com.
I am Mike Lubitz. This is the Let's Get Real podcast. At LubieWinz, LUBIE, on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Also, Mike Lubitz. iTunes, SoundCloud, search Mike Lubitz or MikeLubitz.com. Brad, thank you for coming out. Really appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Hopefully,
Let's get up to the suite, guys.
the beginning.
Come on, let's
Now
go. We got to put this equipment out of
check
this
us
work.
out
I'm trying
next
to
week,
get up there.
right here on MikeLubitz.com. Let's get real.
Yo.